This is not clickbait. This book is terrible. Hey, what's up? Hello. It's Katie Colson here. I struggle to say my name because I don't want you to remember it because I feel like everybody's going to be very mad about this video. And I can kind of understand that because this is going to be a rant review. Okay, and I don't really make those. Well, I'll definitely be honest if I don't like something, but I never make like a dedicated video ranting about a book. But I have been scouring the internet, watching every single video about this book. And there's so many that have like the thumbnails clickbait where it's like, oh, is Fourth Wing even good? Or like, it really, is this hype worth it? Spoiler alert, every single person says it is. Real quick. A disclaimer on the disclaimer on the disclaimer. If you are Rebecca Yarros, or you know her, or you're part of the publishing team, an editor, anybody, do not watch this. Because I'm telling you right now, I am rude in this video. I'm rude, and I do not want to hurt your feelings, okay? I'm sure you are a very lovely woman, Rebecca Yarros. I'm sure you're a lovely human being. This is not about you as a human being. This is about the book. If you like this book, please do not watch this video. Unless you're one of those people that can handle criticism, because that's all I have for this book. Other than the sprayed edges and kind of the cover, there is nothing that I think is good about this book. So don't watch it, or if you do watch it, don't comment, okay? Because this video is specifically for the 0.015% of the population that happens to not like this book, because I'm not really finding evidence of that out in the world, and that seems very strange to me because this is a book. Like, it's art. It's art. There is people that are gonna like it, and there are people that are not gonna like it. But apparently, the only reviews and posts out there are of people that love it, and I cannot begin to understand how that is the case. If you loved this book, I love that for you because I wanted to be that person, okay? So if you loved it, that's great. I don't get it. I truly am flummoxed. I do not understand why people like this book, but good for you. Good for you. I'm questioning your taste, but good for you. Okay, sorry. This book has a 4.68 as of right now. I don't know what the date is. I know it's a Tuesday. That's it. Anyway, it has a 4.68 and it has over 233,000 reviews and it has a 4.68. You know how many people I know picking up this book that do not read fantasy? And are like, oh my God, it doesn't even matter if you don't read fantasy, it's so good. It doesn't even matter if you don't read romance, it's so good. Let me tell you, Rebecca Yarros has only ever written romance before this. So people were like, you have to give the world building some grace because she's never written fantasy. Romance? Bitch, what? Romance? No. Let's talk about the romance real quick. This video is gonna be all over the place. It is just gonna be unhinged of me just ranting. So again, if you wanna see that, cool. If you don't, ta-ta. The romance in this book. This was originally marketed as like the next best adult fantasy. And then it slyly got moved into new adult. Our main character, Violet, is 20 years old. That would be new adult. She reads like she's 14 years old. She does not read mature. She is said over and over again to be like the smartest person. She's so intelligent. She's so logical. She's so this, so that. Never proven. Never proven. Factually inaccurate. Absolutely not. She is not smart. No. There's no single way she would have survived in this book. It doesn't make any sense. It's just because she's the Mary Sue. She's the main character. Anyway, LOL. So she reads like she's 14 years old. And then the guy, Zayden, reads like he's 20. He's 23, but like he reads like he's way more mature than her, okay? When you get 75% into this book and they have sex, it's explicit sexing. It is like explicit, like fingering. There's like the whole kit and caboodle, like everything. And she talks about it so explicitly. And that horrified me because again, the entire time you're reading this, it reads YA. So when you get to the sex scenes, you're so taken aback, or like every time Violet cusses, you're like, oh, I guess this is technically new adult, but nobody told the author that. And then I feel like when they said, oh, it's gonna be new adult, she was like, oh, okay, let me talk about her riding his dick then. Like, disgusting. Happens twice. Also, if this is gonna be a 5-book series, Why have they already, in the first book, they've already, and had like in a third act conflict that was like swiftly resolved and really like wasn't even an issue in the first place. Like, no. The writing in this book is horrifyingly bad. It's horrifyingly bad. Like when people said, oh, well, like, you know, there's fan fictions that are published. I'm like, yeah, because fan fiction is way better than this. Like it's way better than this. This author, she uses the term for the win more than 3 times. For the win wasn't even a thing when it was a thing. We wrote FTW because it was too cringy to write for the win. Even when it was a thing. Like, are you serious? Are you serious? Like, girl. And then that's so millennial. Like the author is a millennial. And she's writing that a 20-year-old is saying that. No. She might have have just said like, oh, you just lost the game. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, absolutely not. And then the writing. There's so many times where she will write something like, I, period, will, period, not, period, listen, period, to, period, you, period, all the time. Ma'am. Red Tower really read this and said, we've got a winner. We've got a winner. And they not only put this out on a campaign so strong that if this was the Oscars, no one would have stood a chance, but gave it this cover, gave all of the first editions these sprayed edges. Why did they put all of their time and effort into this book? I'm genuinely confused. And then are pushing the second book out in November? This book just came out in May. Like, it doesn't make any fucking sense. And then also, okay, I know that this is something that people have talked about, and even people that love it will be like, yeah, I guess that doesn't make sense, but whatever, LOL, this is about a dragon like academy, a school where you learn how to become a dragon rider, okay? It is said explicitly many times throughout this book that they need people for the army. They need people for the war. They need fighters desperately. They are constantly losing people and they are constantly in need of more. Now, why is it that they have to conscript people to go into this training? Like, you don't even have a choice. Like, a lot of people go and join because of the prestige, but people just get picked up and are like, you've got to come and do this. Tell me why, though. If there's such a desperate need, why is it that once you get into training, you have a 1 in 4 possibility of making it out alive? Not because the dragons are so scary and are going to kill you, even though, yeah, that also happens, but because the teammates, your group, are all trying to kill you because there's not enough dragons for the amount of dragon riders. Why are you letting them kill each other? That doesn't make any sense. Like, what? Why? Why are you letting them kill each other? It doesn't make any sense. And then also, the very first thing that they have to do is walk across this parapet, which I know everybody's comparing this to Divergent, which it absolutely is. But you know in Divergent, whenever she's going to become like in Dauntless and she has to like jump on that train and she's like, oh my God, like I could die. Okay, so the parapet is this like, basically the bridge that leads to Asgard. It's like this bridge that's slippery, and it's like if you fall off it you die because it's like 1,000 million feet in the air. But here's the thing, this horrible storm is happening when Violet's going over it. You know what's funny about that? Her mom has a magical power to control storms. I know that it was just a plot hole, but at the same time I was like, Violet, your mom's got it out for you. Your mom has got it out for you bad. So she has to go across this, and people are just slipping off and dying left and right. Why? They haven't even begun training. They have not begun to start training, and they make them walk across this slippery ass slope and are like, well, if you can keep your balance, you can come and train. They haven't even had a day of training. Why are you letting these people die left and right when you don't even know if they're good at anything? You have no idea. Frustrating. I am frustrated. Okay. And then the thing that I think is so funny is that people are comparing this to The Hunger Games and ACOTAR. The audacity. This book is Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. It is Shadow and Bone. And everybody, when Shadow and Bone came out, everybody was like eating it up and loving it. And then when people pick it up now, like 10 years later, are like, these books are terrible. But the people that read it back then are like, oh yeah, but it was nostalgic. I see it's not good now. That's going to happen with this book. 10 years from now, y'all are all going to be like, oh my God, Katie, I'm sorry, you were right. That book is so bad. Because this is such Shadow and Bone energy. Couple million reasons. Biggest one being Dane, the best friend, is Mal from Shadow and Bone. They are a carbon copy of each other. The whole like, and then Xaden is the Darkling, where it's like, oh my god, this guy that like wants to kill you, but like also he's like sexually attracted to you and he like loves you, but like, oh my god, no, like ew, like two sides of the war, oh my god, like that's them in this book. But then Mal or Dane, the best friend, is so overprotective and is like, the amount of times that he says, damn it, Violet, because he thinks that she's doing something that he doesn't want her to do. If you have a Kindle, please just search damn it, Violet, and tell me how many times it is, because it has to be like an absolutely astronomical amount. But he's always telling her, I'm trying to protect you. I'm trying to save you. You're going to die. You're not strong enough for this. Like the amount of times that he belittles her in a what Rebecca Yarros thought was romantic way. Like, and the fact that she thought this was a love triangle, I was like, were people out here rooting for Dane and Violet? Dane and Violet. This man went to this training facility for 10 months before she showed up and did not talk to her one single time. Never sent a letter, nothing. And then out of nowhere is like the biggest rule following, like if you even scrape by mishandling a rule, he will lose it. And he's like throwing her under the bus left and right. And like his power is that he can read minds. And she never thinks for a single second that he's reading her mind. She's an idiot. She's real dumb. She's very stupid. I'm going to be totally honest. Xaden, he wasn't that bad. Xaden wasn't that bad. Do I love him? No. But also his character is described the exact same way as Rhysand, like to a T. And she says that he has tawny skin. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, the main character is like fetishized for how pale and white she is and thin. Tiny. She's so petite and thin. Okay. But the tawny skin thing, somebody asked Rebecca Yarros in an interview what that meant. And she said that Xaden is a person of color. And I was like, you didn't write it in the book, so it doesn't count. You can't just say tawny skin and then just let people assume whether or not you're being politically correct and inclusive. It's not how it works. That's not how it works, okay? So also another thing in this book is that she's told explicitly, do not make friends, do not trust anyone, do not go near Xaden. And of freaking course, the second, before she even gets on the parapet, she made a best friend. Literally made a best friend. Rhiannon, I think that's how you pronounce her name, Rhiannon. I was so suspicious of her. I thought she was going to be a double agent from the freaking jump because she just immediately runs up and is like, oh my god, hey, what's your name? My name's Rhiannon. Your name's Violet. Let's be best friends. And they are like glued to the hip for the entirety of the series and they trust each other without a shadow of a doubt. You don't know this girl from Eve. What do you mean? Nah, it doesn't make any freaking sense. And the fact that they're like, oh my god, you could die at any second. People died left and right. People are getting picked off like flies in this book, but you don't care because none of them mean anything. It's just like, oh, you meet this guy named David and he's like, oh, I'm gonna have long distance with my girlfriend. Like, we're not gonna be separated for long. And then halfway down the page, he dies. What? Like, characters are given a name and then murdered immediately. But then there's a 5 or 6 month time jump where she literally 5 or 6 months, she's like, oh, 5 or 6 months passed, nothing happened. You're at a dragon academy where people are actively trying to murder you and are getting killed by other things. And you're saying 5 or 6 months passed and nothing happened? The math, it is not mathing. Sorry, it's been 4 hours since I talked to you last because I was talking with my friend on the phone for 4 hours and just got off. So if my voice sounds weird and also if I repeat myself or this is more convoluted than the first half, apologies. But like, did you expect anything else? If you did, joke's on you. Okay. What's the next thing I wanted to say? Oh, the dragons. Okay, I have nothing against dragons. I like dragons. I like dragons in Throne of Glass. I liked it in Game of Thrones. Cool. The dragons in this, well, I was about to say don't make any sense. Nothing makes any sense. You're telling me that these dragons live for like thousands and thousands of years, okay? Because Violet's dragon that she bonds with is 500, or hasn't been seen for 500 years. So clearly is super old. They live insanely long, if not indefinitely. I have no idea. It's not really stated, but they live a super long time. They are known to be the far superior species in terms of strength, agility, and intelligence. it is said that they're smarter, then why are they going and bonding with humans and letting the humans climb on their back and navigate them into battle? Why are the dragons the tanks for the army? The dragons are smart. Why did the dragons even want to be part of this? Like, to be completely frank, like, why are the humans in charge? Why did the dragons not enslave the humans? Why are the dragons not the ones in charge? It doesn't make any sense. And the fact that the people that are in charge, like in the human world or whatever, are just the ones that have like the most badass dragons. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And then also, speaking of the dragons being really old, there's this dragon that hasn't been seen for 500 years, and it's like the baddest, most scariest black dragon. Also, all of them are just named like green dragon, red dragon, black dragon. Can we have like an ounce of charisma? Just like a dash of creativity. Anyway, this black dragon that hasn't been seen for 500 years and is like so powerful, obviously shows up and picks Violet. Obviously, duh. But then also, okay, here's the thing. He picks her during this, they have to walk the runway, basically, where the last like challenge that they have to do is that they have to just walk like they're in a parade. They're on America's Next Top Model in front of the dragons, not look them in the eye, and make casual conversation with each other. That's really like they're acting to entice the dragons to like think that they're like a good person and a good fit for them. So it's like, oh, show off your acting chops, like, oh, Kiki, ha ha ha, oh my God, I'm so funny. Like, doesn't the dragon like me? One, that's ridiculous. That's so stupid. And the fact that the dragons are supposed to be so smart, I'm like, can't they just tell that you're full of, you know? But then also, tell me why. Riddle me this. Why several, not just one, several of the members of this training program decide that this is the best opportunity to show their complete ass. Show their complete ass. Not only are they like using cuss words, they're like using profanities, they're insulting not only the other trainees, their competitors, but also the dragons. And being like, that one looks weak. I would never bond with that. I'm sorry. This is a personality contest and you're saying that, but not only than that, okay? They're trying to kill other trainees during this because they're like, oh my God, they're gonna have their guard down. I'm gonna kill them. I'm like, why would the dragon want you? That doesn't make sense. But then also, some of them take it upon themselves to try and kill one of the dragons. What? Like, what? What are you talking about? They try to kill one of the dragons because it's tiny. And they're like, oh my God, it's weak. Like, it's defective. We're gonna kill it. Okay, the ableism. I'm sorry. It's gross. Anyway, so there's this tiny little dragon, and they call it a feathertail. No one's ever seen a feathertail. They don't know what it is. They just think it's like a specific species of dragon that's like super tiny and weak. You're saying none of them, and I don't just mean the students. I mean the teachers. I mean the war captains, all this stuff. None of them have ever seen a baby dragon, and none of them see this dragon and think possibly that dragons don't just come into the world fully formed, that maybe they're mammals. Nobody stops and thinks that maybe this is a dragon. That's a baby. Also, tell me why our 500-year-old black dragon decided to bring this baby with him when no one has ever seen one and this has never been done before. And it's like a very dangerous situation. And when he's asked why he did it, he's just like, oh, I didn't think anything would happen. Okay. What are you talking about? And they're like, oh, well, you know, they can't even bond anyway. Well, joke's on you. Because the little baby dragon, who's like a little toddler, obviously throws herself in the mix and is like, I want to be bonded to Violet too because she's so nice. What are you talking about? That's just stupid. And also, obviously, we have like a dragon mind melding bond thing where the dragons don't talk to people. They only will like tell the person they want to bond with their name. And then when the human says their name out loud, that means that they're bonded with that dragon. I was like, you're giving these humans a lot of credit and a lot of power and a lot of agency when they haven't earned it. They have not earned it, let me tell you that. But anyway, so the dragon, I can't remember how to say the name, but it sounds like scale, which is also, can you give me a dash of creativity? Anyway, so this dragon and Violet, they like mind meld where they can talk to each other through their minds. But here's the thing. Half a day after that happens, when they mind meld, okay? This is the worst part of the entire book. This is the worst part. Basically, her dragon is having sex with another dragon, and she feels the physical experience of dragon sex in her body and in her mind. I'm sorry, I don't think I'm reaching to say that that's rape. Like, I don't think I'm reaching to say that's rape. Like, he infiltrates her brain. She doesn't feel anything else from him. She doesn't feel when he's eating. She doesn't feel when he's hunting. She doesn't feel when he's angry. No, but she does feel when he's having sex. And she can't do anything about it. And it's like she can't get out of it. It's like taking over her brain and her body. I don't like that. That's disgusting. It's gross. And also, like, you're feeling someone else's sex? That's disgusting. That is so gross. And then the other characters, or Xaden's dragon is her dragon's mate, obviously. So they're both feeling this at the same time and like looking in each other's eyes. And Rebecca Yarros is trying to make this like a sexual thing. Like, oh my God, they're like totally gonna have sex because there's all this like lust and feelings that aren't theirs, but like they're gonna channel it into each other. Which doesn't happen, thank God. But still, what are you talking about? Disgusting. And when I was talking about the ounce of creativity, let me talk about the names. So we have Violet for the main character, obviously. And she's described as Daenerys Targaryen. Like, she has white blonde hair, she's pale, she's small, she's slight, and she's seen as weak compared to all these other characters, okay? But in Game of Thrones, that's the way Daenerys is described, but she has violet eyes. And this character's named Violet. And both of them have dragons. They have baby dragons. And no one's ever had a baby dragon before. I'm sensing a copyright infringement happening here. Also, another tie-in to a different book is, oh my God, I'm forgetting her name, but the main character in Shadow and Bone. This character is her because both of them have the power of lightning or light, okay? And then their love interest, the Darkling or Xaden, both have the power to control shadows. And we're all black. I'm sorry, that's two on the nose. One controls lightning and the other one controls shadows. Like, it's the carbon copy. Like, I'm just very much confused. I don't understand. But anyway, the names. So we have Violet and then we have Xaden. Those are both pretty interesting or, a little bit abnormal names. Every other character is named, and I'm not making these up. These are names of the book. David, Dylan, Jack. What? Something else that is so ridiculous about this book is it's so formulaic. It's so like, if you've read any sort of cringy fantasy with horrible world building, you know exactly what's going to happen at every single point of this book, except for the sex scenes, which will really smack you upside the back of the head in a horrible way. But this, like, literally every time there would be a plot reveal, I'd be like, yeah, duh. Or every time a character would be introduced, you knew if they were going to die or not, but based on the way they were talking. Like, when a side character would be like, oh my God, I can't wait to get back to my girlfriend, they die immediately. I'm like, what? Like, we don't care. We don't care about any of these people, okay? And something that's absolutely ridiculous is this whole war that's going on, okay? The war of the past, or of the, like, recent-ish past, okay? The rebels, their children, are forced into this Dragon Academy. Now, there are so many reasons that that's ridiculous, so many reasons that that's wrong. The biggest of which being a dragon rider is the highest prestige you can be. It's such a big deal. Like, they're like royalty, basically. Like, they're seen as like, gods on earth. So you're telling me that these rebels' children, that their punishment is that you're going to put them in this Dragon Academy where they have the ability to make it through, bond with a dragon, become a dragon rider, and not only than that, become leaders, become war captains. Oh, there's no way that's going to come back to bite you in the ass. There's no way. You're fighting against rebels? And you want to end this and there never to be a rebellion again, like very Hunger Games or whatever, but you're giving the rebellion's children, who obviously are also rebels, you're giving the rebels' children access to your military, your war plans, training them amongst the rest of you, allowing them power and prestige. And you think they're gonna fight for you? It doesn't make any sense. And then speaking of the rebellion and the obvious plot twist is the Divergent thing of, in Divergent, when she realizes that, Four's dad is the one who's actually like leading this whole like revolt behind the scenes. And it's like, well, yeah, duh, obviously. And then Triss's brother in it is like also working behind the scenes in another faction. Violet's brother Brennan, of course this guy's alive. Of course he's alive. We only talk about him a million times. And for other characters that are named and then immediately just dead half a page later, we get Brennan's name here and there and all over the place. And also the dad, but the dad not as much as Brennan, but Brennan's alive. And here's the thing, Brennan being alive is not a bad plot twist. It's not. But here's the thing. The way, you know what? I'm going to look it up because I need to tell you exactly what she wrote. This is the most anticlimactic shit I've ever read, especially between two people that apparently love each other so much. So this is the very end of the book. It says, I sigh and move to the side, watching Violet's eyes widen as she sees him standing in the doorway. Told you I knew better potion masters, I tell her softly. You weren't healed, you were mended. Brennan? She stares at her brother in open mouth shock. Brennan just grins and opens his arms. Welcome to the revolution, Violet. That's it. Welcome to the revolution, Violet. He just is like, hey. No, that is a big gag. That is a gag. That is pulling the rug out from under you. That's snatching the entire wig off your freaking head. And that's what we get. There are so many things I could say. I've said so many. I know, I'm sorry. There are so many more things I could say about this because all the people that were saying, like, any bad review that I saw, all the comments were like, yeah, all those things are true, but I looked past them and I enjoyed it anyway. What I'm here to tell you is that there's nothing past that. There's only problems with this book. There's nothing that I saw about this book that I could look past something to see something else. It's all bad. I'm going to apologize again, even though it's probably fruitless because I've been such an utter... if you like this book, that's amazing. If you liked it and you didn't like what I had to say, you knew you weren't going to. So no need to leave a comment, okay? It's just not necessary. And even if you didn't like the book, you don't need to comment either, okay? I just want this out there for anybody that feels like they're not being represented in their opinion. So yes, if you've gotten this far into the video, I am shocked. Very surprised. But if you have and you want to leave an emoji instead of a comment outing yourself as what your opinion is, then leave the emoji of the face that's like throwing up. That's like, oh, because that's how I felt about this book. Oh my God, there's a gnat. Anyway, I am gonna shut up now because I'm sure you're all sick of hearing me talk. I hope you're all having an amazing day, evening, night, dusk, dawn, wherever it is in the world that you currently are and that you're having a better reading experience, reading something else, or even reading this. And I will see you in a video coming very soon if I'm not kicked off of the internet. Bye.
Try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain. Pulling a mob, pushing a train. I'll never stop, stick to a lane. Pick up the pieces and go rearrange. I'll be the best above.